Today we're going to be covering um, pages 416 through 423. We're going to be finishing up chapter 19, and also just to let you know that tomorrow we will start our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday classes on Zoom. So please make sure that you log on or check your email, your EPCC email, for an invitation to join our Zoom meeting, okay? So please make sure that you do that. It's very imperative that you are on there by 8 o'clock. I decided to start it at 8 because we need to cover several pages, and I want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to join us while the meeting is in progress. So 8 a.m., okay? If you join in later, please feel free to do so, but I'd like to get started at exactly 8. So check your email at around 7:45, 7:50, so that you can be ready to join in, okay? So anyway, let's go ahead and start today. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with connectives that express cause and effect, contrast and condition. The warm-up for this is for charts 19-7, okay? And usually when someone breaks an arm, he or she goes to the doctor. That is expected behavior. Answer the same questions about expected behavior for each statement. We circle whether yes or no. So expected behavior means that you expect the logical result, okay? So let's look at number 1. Ron broke his arm, but he didn't go to the doctor. Is that expected behavior? No. If you break your arm, you go to the doctor. So that's not expected behavior. He didn't go to the doctor. Number 2. Joe went to the doctor because he broke his arm. Is that expected behavior? Yes. Number 3. Sue broke her arm, so she went to the doctor. Is that expected behavior? Yes. Number 4. Amy broke her arm. Nevertheless, she didn't go to the doctor. Is that expected behavior? No. Despite having a broken arm, Rick didn't go to the doctor. Is that expected behavior? No. Jeff broke his arm. Therefore, he went to the doctor. Is that expected behavior? Yes. So we look at chart 19.7, showing the contrast, ladies and gentlemen, with expected behavior. Here we're going to look at the contrast of using adverb clauses, conjunctions, transitions, and prepositions. All of these sentences have the same meaning. The idea of cold weather is contrasted with the idea of going swimming. Usually, if the weather is cold, one does not go swimming. So going swimming in cold weather is an unexpected result. It is surprising that the speaker went swimming in cold weather. Yes, and I agree. On cold days, like for example, a cold December or January or February day, if it's very cold outside, you're not expected to go swimming, okay? But these words will show us the unexpected result, okay? So words that introduce an adverb clause that give you an unexpected result, even though, although, and though, and they each have the same meaning. They give you the unexpected result. Look at example A. Even though it was cold, I went swimming. B. Although it was cold, I went swimming. And see, though it was cold, I went swimming. Okay? And here, you're expected, if it's cold weather, you're not expected to go swimming. So these, even though, although, and though, they introduce the adverb clause that gives you the unexpected result. Conjunctions that give you unexpected result. But anyway, but still, yet still. Look at example D. It was cold, comma, but I went swimming anyway. Or it was cold, but I went swimming. I would use anyway, my preference. The next one, E, but still. It was cold, comma, but I still went swimming. Or it was cold, but I went swimming. Yet still. It was cold, yet I still went swimming. Or it was cold, yet I went swimming. So here, anyway, still, and still, they give you an added emphasis to the conjunctions, which would make it like a paired conjunction. If you remember the paired conjunctions, either or, neither nor, not only but also both and, okay? Transition words that give you an unexpected result. Nevertheless, nonetheless, however, still. So letter G. It was cold, period, capital N. Nevertheless, comma, I went swimming. Or, it was cold, semicolon, no capital. Nonetheless, comma, I went swimming. Or, it was cold, period, capital H. However, comma, I still went swimming. Okay? So nevertheless, nonetheless, and however, they give you transition words that give us unexpected results. You may use a period or a semicolon. Remember, if you use a semicolon, we do not capitalize the transition word. But we still use a comma to separate the transition word from the rest of the sentence, okay? And then prepositions, despite, in spite of, despite the fact that, in spite of the fact that. I went swimming despite the cold weather. I went swimming in spite of the cold weather. I went swimming despite the fact that the weather was cold. I went swimming in spite of the fact that the weather was cold. So all of these, even these prepositions, give us unexpected results. So there's a footnote at the bottom of chart 19-7. Another way to show contrast is to put though at the end of the sentence. It was cold, period. I went swimming, comma, though. This meaning is similar to but. It was cold, comma, but I went swimming. However, though is softer. This usage is very common in spoken English. Now, if we look at exercise 24, looking at grammar, we're going to use charts 19-3 and charts 19-7. Okay? These sentences come from information learned from those chapters with the unexpected result. Okay? Complete the sentences with the word inside or outside to make logical statements. Okay? So look at number 1. It rained, but we had our wedding blank anyway. Okay? Here, if it rains, okay, and here we're using the conjunction but anyway to give us unexpected result. Well, it rained, but we had our wedding outside anyway. Normally, if it rains, you don't have your wedding outside. Look at number 2. It rained, comma, so we had our wedding inside. This is only one conjunction, and this gives us expected results. So we had our wedding inside. Go ahead and do number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll check in a minute. All right, let's go ahead and check. Number 3. It rained. Nevertheless, here's a transition that gives us an unexpected result. We had our wedding outside. Number 4. Though it rained, here is an adverb clause word. Though it rained, we had our wedding outside, because though gives us unexpected result. Number 5, even though it rained, we had our wedding outside. Even though gives us unexpected result also. Number 6, although it rained, we had our wedding outside. So remember, though, even though, and although are adverb clause words that give us unexpected result. Number 7, despite the fact that it rained, we had our wedding outside. Despite the fact, okay, that, these are prepositions that give us unexpected result. So it's still outside. Number 8, it rained. Therefore, we had our wedding inside. Therefore is a transition word, but it's not up here in this list. So this gives us, this gives us the expected result. If it rains, you're going to have your wedding inside. Let's go to page 417, exercise 25, ladies and gentlemen. On exercise 25, it says complete the sentences with was or wasn't to make logical statements. We're going to use the information from chart 19-7. Okay? Look for the words that introduce an unexpected result using adverb clause words, conjunctions, transitions, and prepositions. Look for those words. So that way you can make the logical statements. Okay? So look at number 1. Hans had worked a 24-hour shift. Nevertheless, he was wide awake. That's unexpected because of nevertheless. If you work a 24-hour shift, you expect to be sleepy, but he wasn't. Nevertheless, unexpected result. Number 2. Though he had worked a 24-hour shift, he wasn't sleepy. Again, though gives you the unexpected result. He wasn't sleepy. Number 3. Even though he had worked a 24-hour shift, he was wide awake. Even though gives you the unexpected result. So it's going to be was. Number 4. He blank wide awake although he had worked a 24-hour shift. Here's although. Again, adverb clause word gives you unexpected result. So he, or Hans, was wide awake although he had worked a 24-hour shift. Number 5. He had worked a 24-hour shift, yet he was wide awake. Yet, he also gives us, that's a conjunction, that gives us unexpected result. So he was wide awake. Number 6. Despite the fact that he had worked a 24-hour shift, Hans blank sleepy. So again, despite the fact that gives you prepositions that give you an unexpected result. Hans wasn't sleepy. And number 7, in spite of working a 24-hour shift, Hans blank wide awake. And here, in spite of working a 24-hour shift, in spite of, and here, in spite of, gives you the prepositions that give you the unexpected result. So here, he was wide awake. So number 1 was. Number 2 wasn't. Number 3 was. Number 4 was. Number 5 was. Number 6 wasn't. And number 7 was. Now we look at exercise 26. Here it says complete the sentences with but, even though, or nevertheless. Notice the use of punctuation and capitalization. So remember, if you have, like for example, a period as a punctuation, you're going to use a transition here. If you have a comma, you're going to use a conjunction. And you have nothing because the adverb clause follows the main clause, then you're going to use an adverb clause word. So using but, even though, and nevertheless for numbers 1, 2, and 3. For part 2, number 4 and 5, you're going to complete the sentences with yet as a conjunction, although as an adverb clause word, or however as a transition. Again, the the punctuation is very important. Okay? So let's do number 1 together. Bob ate a large dinner. Period. There's a period, so it's okay. I need a transition. Which one is the transition here? Nevertheless. So say Bob ate a large dinner. Period. Capital N. Nevertheless, comma, he is still hungry. B. Bob ate a large dinner, comma. So here is a comma to separate it from a conjunction. So you're going to say but he is still hungry. The next one, Bob is still hungry, blank, he ate a large dinner. So here you say even though. That's going to introduce the adverb clause that comes after the main clause, so no punctuation is needed here. So number 1, nevertheless. Number 2, number 1A, nevertheless. 1B, but, and 1C, even though. Go ahead and do number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, for 4 and 5, you're going to use yet, although, and however. Okay? Okay, number 2A. I had a lot of studying to do, comma, blank, I went to a movie anyway. So you notice here that there's a comma, so you say, okay, I need a conjunction. I had a lot of studying to do, but I went to a movie anyway. That gives you an expected result. The next one, I had a lot of studying to do, period. There's a period, so you say, okay, I'm going to use a transition. Nevertheless, I went to a movie. Okay? Here, this is a transition word. Okay? Look at C. Blank, I had a lot of studying to do. I went to a movie. Notice that there's a comma. This must be an adverb clause. So you're going to use, even though I had a lot of studying to do, comma, I went to a movie. Okay. Number 3. I finished all of my work. Blank. I was very sleepy. Okay. So here you say I finished all of my work even though I was very sleepy. There's no punctuation mark because the adverb clause comes after the main clause. B. I was very sleepy, comma, blank, I finished all of my work. So here's the comma, so you say, okay, this has to be a conjunction. But, letter C. I was very sleepy, period. Blank, I finished all of my work. There's a period and a comma, so you say, okay, nevertheless, a transition word. Okay? Look at number 4, 5, A, B, and C. I'll give you another minute in case you didn't finish with that. Okay? Number 4. I washed my hands, period. And there's a comma here. So you say, okay, that's a transition. Although I wash my hands, capital H. However, comma, they still look dirty. Number B. I washed my hands, comma, blank, they still look dirty. So here's a comma. So it's okay, I need a conjunction. Yet, they still look dirty. Letter C. Blank, I wash my hands, comma, they still look dirty. So say, okay, here's a clause that's followed by a comma. There's the main clause. So you say, okay, this is going to be an adverb clause word. Although I wash my hands, they still look dirty. So 4A, however, 4B, yet, 4C, although. 5A. Diana didn't know how to swim. Blank, she jumped into the pool. There's a comma. So he said, okay, I'm going to use a conjunction here because the comma comes after this main clause. I'm going to use a conjunction because it separates it from this sentence, from this clause from the other clause. This is another main, 2 independent clauses separated by a conjunction. So yet. Diana didn't know how to swim, yet she jumped into the pool. B. Blank, Diana didn't know how to swim, comma, she jumped into the pool. So here you're going to say, although, using the adverb clause word, although Diana didn't know how to swim, comma, she jumped into the pool. Letter C. Diana didn't know how to swim, period. Capital H. However, comma, she jumped into the pool because there's a period, there's a comma. You say, okay, I need a transition. Okay? So number 5A, is going to be yet. 5b, although. 5c is going to be however. Let's look at exercise 27. On exercise 27, it says, add commas, periods, and capital letters as necessary. Do not add or omit any or change any words. So if we look at number 1, now remember it says as necessary. We're going to do number 1 and 2. Anna's father gave her some good advice, nevertheless she did not follow it. So you say, Anna's father gave her some good advice, period, capital N. Nevertheless, comma, she did not follow it. Let's look at B. Anna's father gave her some good advice, though she didn't follow it. Here, this is the adverb clause that follows the main clause, so we're not going to make any changes. No punctuation is needed. Letter C. Even though Anna's father gave her some good advice, she didn't follow it. So this is the adverb clause. We're going to put a comma here. Okay? Letter D. Anna's father gave her some good advice. She did not follow it, however. So you're going to say, Anna's father gave her some good advice, period. Capital S. She did not follow it, however. And here you would also use a comma before the transition word. Okay? So Anna's father gave her some good advice, period. Capital S. She did not follow it, comma, however, period. Go ahead and do number 2. I'll give you a couple of minutes for that. Okay, 2A. Thomas has been broke for months. I offered him some money. He refused it. So here what we have are 3 independent clauses. So we say Thomas has been broke for months, period. Capital I offered him some money, period. Capital H, he refused it. Again, Thomas has been broke for months, period. I offered him some money, period. Capital H, he refused it, period. Letter B. Thomas refused the money although he has been broke for months. So here, you notice that the adverb clause follows the main clause, so no change here. No punctuation is needed. Letter C. Thomas has been broke for months, nevertheless he refused the money that I offered him. So you say Thomas has been broke for months, period. Capital M, because this is a transition word. Nevertheless, comma, he refused the money that I offered him. Again, Thomas has been broke for months, period, capital M. Nevertheless, comma, he refused the money that I offered him. D. Thomas has been broke for months, yet he still refused the money that I offered him. So here's the use of a conjunction. Thomas has been broke for months, comma, yet he still refused the money that I offered him. Okay? So this is used as a conjunction, so we use the comma before it. All right. Let's go to exercise 29. This is a warm-up for chart 19-8. Okay? So, it says read the question and answer and the answers. Which answers express direct contrast? Example, the idea that this is the opposite of that. Okay? So, and remember, we're using direct contrast, so we're going to use some of these words that show direct contrast, like while, but, however, and on the other hand. So, if we look at, and you're going to circle them. If it shows direct contrast, you're going to circle them, okay? If you think that they show direct contrast, you circle the number. Look at number 1. Hurricanes develop over warm oceans while tornadoes form over land. So here, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to say, all right, we're comparing hurricanes and tornadoes. Hurricanes develop over warm oceans while tornadoes develop or form over land. That's direct contrast. So yes, you circle number 1. Number 2, hurricanes develop while they are traveling over warm ocean water. Does it show direct contrast, hurricanes with something else? No, that's factual information. So number 2 doesn't show direct contrast. Number 3, hurricanes develop over warm oceans, but tornadoes form over land. Here's using but. Comparing hurricanes and tornadoes, so yes, it shows direct contrast. Number 4, hurricanes develop over warm oceans. However, tornadoes form over land. Here's a transition word. That's going to show direct contrast between hurricanes and tornadoes. So yes, circle it. Number 5, hurricanes develop over warm oceans. On the other hand, tornadoes form over land. And here, on the other hand, is a transition phrase. And it's showing direct contrast between hurricanes and tornadoes. So yes. So numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5 show direct contrast. Number 2 does not. Number 2 gives us just factual information. So let's look then on chart 19-8. This is the explanation to this exercise. All of the sentences have the same meaning. This is the opposite of that. Okay? Now, adverb clauses are introduced with the word while to show direct contrast. Mary is rich, comma, while John is poor. Or B, John is poor, comma, while Mary is rich. Now you notice the commas here, even though the adverb clause follows the main clause. If you're using while, it is okay to use the comma. Okay? Conjunctions, but. Mary is rich, comma, but John is poor. And John is poor, comma, but Mary is rich. You use the conjunction but to connect two independent clauses. So we use the comma before the conjunction. And transitions, however. Mary is rich, semicolon, however, comma, John is poor. Or John is poor, period. Semicolon. Mary is rich, comma, however. You can also use a period instead of semicolons. Okay? The only difference here is that if you use a period in letter E, you would have to capitalize however. Okay? On the other hand, Mary is rich, period. John, comma, on the other hand, comma, is poor. And John is poor, period. Mary, comma, on the other hand, comma, is rich. You notice here that we're using the transitional phrase here. After the subject, before the verb, we still use commas to separate that transitional phrase from the rest of the sentence. Okay? Look at the footnote. Sometimes a comma precedes while, a while clause that shows direct contrast. A comma helps clarify that while is being used to express contrast rather than time. The use of a comma in this instance is a stylistic choice by the writer. So here what they're saying is that you may use the comma before the adverb clause if you're showing direct contrast. If it's an adverb clause showing direct contrast. If it isn't, then if it's an adverb clause showing time, no comma is necessary. Okay? All right. So we look at exercise 30. For each sentence, make 2 sentences with the same meaning using however and on the other hand. Punctuate carefully. Now, look at number 1. My grandfather is quite active, while my grandmother is often in bed. So we're going to use the transitions however and on the other hand. So you say, my grandfather is quite active, period. Capital H. However, comma, my grandmother is often in bed. Or, my grandfather is quite active, semicolon. On the other hand, comma, my grandmother is often in bed. Okay. Number 2. While my grandmother has a sunny personality, my grandfather is more negative. So you say, take off while, capital M. My grandmother has a sunny personality, period. Capital O. On the other hand, comma, my grandfather is more negative. And, again, take off while. My grandmother has a sunny personality, semicolon. However, comma, my grandfather is more negative. And I'm just using the different punctuation marks, semicolon or period. Go ahead and do number 3. We'll check. Okay. Elderly people in my country live with their children, but the elderly in the United States often live by themselves. So you say, elderly people in my country usually live with their children, period. No but, okay? However, capital H, comma, the elderly in the United States often live by themselves. And elderly people in my country usually live with their children, semicolon. On the other hand, comma, the elderly in the United States often live by themselves. Yes. So look at exercise 31. Complete the sentences with your own words. Customs. These are social customs according to the country that you're from. In some countries, people greet each other by shaking hands, while in other countries, people kiss one another on the cheek. Or you can also say, while in other countries, people hug each other. Give them a hug. Look at number 2. In the United States, people drive on the right-hand side of the road, while people in England drive on the left side. Or while people in Australia drive on the left side of the road. Number 3. While in Japan, people must take off their shoes before entering a house, in some countries, you do not have to remove your shoes. And number 4. In some cultures, it is considered impolite to look directly at another person, while in others, eye contact is very important. And those are just my words. You can have probably some of your own. Now, in exercise 32, we're not going to do it, but I'll just explain. This is showing contrast, comparing extroverts to introverts. Now, what do you consider yourself? An extrovert or an introvert? I think I'm an extrovert. Oh no, sometimes. And sometimes I'm an introvert. Just depends of the situation and who I'm around. Okay? So if we look at the 2 examples, extroverts like to talk more than listen, comma, while introverts like to listen more than talk. And we can use but, however, on the other hand, or while. Introverts like to listen more than talk, period. Extroverts, comma, however, comma, like to talk more than listen. So you say, like, for example, extroverts like to be the center of attention, comma, but introverts are uncomfortable being the center of attention. Let's look at this one. Extroverts don't mind noise, comma, while introverts prefer the quiet. See? So you could use these words from up here to make direct contrast between extroverts and introverts. And what are you? An extrovert or an introvert? All right. Exercise 33. Think of 2 different countries you are familiar with. How are they different? Use while, however, on the other hand, and but. Work in pairs, in small groups, or as a class. So you might say, for example, Saudi Arabia is very large in size, period. However, Kuwait is small in size. Or you might say, the population of Canada is, let's say, 150 million people, comma, while the population in the United States is double that, 325 million. Okay? If we compare food, you might say, food in Mexico is spicy, period. On the other hand, comma, American food is not spicy. See? we will use those to make direct contrast. Okay? Now let's go to exercise 34. This is an introduction for chart 19-9. Okay? On chart 19-9, it says, choose the logical verb for each sentence. Can, affirmative, or can't, negative. So here's the situation. We look at Daniel. Okay? He has a cup of coffee in his hand. Look at his facial expression. Here's the situation. Daniel needs coffee every morning. It wakes him up. So if Daniel drinks coffee in the morning, he blank wake up quickly. So if he drinks coffee in the morning, he can wake up quickly. Go ahead and do number 2, 3, and 4. So number 2, unless Daniel drinks coffee in the morning, he can't wake up quickly because of unless. Number 3, Daniel needs coffee every morning. Otherwise, he can't wake up quickly because of otherwise. Number 4, Daniel needs coffee in the morning, or else he can't wake up quickly. So again, can't because of or else. So again, these words on chart 19-9 express conditions, okay, using otherwise and or else. Look at examples A, B, C. These are adverb clauses using if. If I don't eat breakfast, comma, I get hungry. B, you'll be late if you don't hurry. And you'll get wet unless you take your umbrella. If and unless state conditions that produce certain results. We know that if you don't eat breakfast, the result's going to be that you're going to get hungry. And if you don't hurry, the result's going to be that you're going to be late. And if you don't take an umbrella, the result's going to be that you're going to get wet. So if and unless state conditions that produce certain results in adverb clauses. Now, look at the transition word here. All of the transitions for D, E, F are going to be otherwise. I always eat breakfast, period, capital O. Otherwise, comma, I get hungry during class. E, you'd better hurry, period, capital O. Otherwise, comma, you'll be late. F, take your umbrella, period, capital O. Otherwise, comma, you'll get wet. Otherwise expresses the idea if the opposite is true, then there will be a certain result. Indeed, otherwise means if I don't eat breakfast. So see, if I don't eat breakfast, I get hungry. If I don't hurry, I'm going to be late. If I don't take my umbrella, I'm going to get wet. Or you'll get wet. So see, so otherwise means if. Okay, the result, the opposite is true. Okay? So you might say, I better study for the final exam. Otherwise, I won't get a good grade. See? Conjunctions. Letter G, H, and I. This is using or else. You notice else is in parentheses. You may use it or you may omit it. Usually in speaking we omit it. In writing we would use it. I always eat breakfast or else I get hungry during class. Or I always eat breakfast or I get hungry during class. Letter H. You'd better hurry or else you'll be late. You'd better hurry or you'll be late. Take your umbrella or else you'll get wet. Take your umbrella or you'll get wet. Or else and otherwise have the same meaning. Okay? They give you the same meaning. Okay? So, look at exercise 35. We have chores. Remember, chores are household responsibilities or duties that you have to do. Okay? Make sentences with the same meaning as the given sentence used otherwise. If I don't clean the fridge, fridge meaning refrigerator. If I don't clean the fridge, my roommate will start complaining about how messy I am. I need to clean the fridge. I should clean the fridge. I had better clean the fridge. I have to clean the fridge. Otherwise, my roommate will start complaining about how messy I am. Look at number 2. If I don't wash my clothes tonight, I won't have any clean clothes to wear tomorrow. So here you might say, I need to wash my clothes tonight. So here I eliminate I and don't. So you say, I need to wash my clothes tonight, period. Otherwise, comma, I won't have any clean clothes to wear tomorrow. Again, I need to wash my clothes tonight, period. Capital O. Otherwise, comma, I won't have any clean clothes to wear tomorrow. You can also say, I have to, or I had better. Should, it's not as strong as need, had better, or have to. Let's do number 3. If we don't start cooking dinner now, it won't be ready in time. So you say, you eliminate if and don't. Capital W. We need to start cooking dinner now. Semicolon. Otherwise, comma, it won't be ready in time. Again, we need to start cooking dinner now, semicolon. Otherwise, comma, it won't be ready in time. Number 4. I won't be able to sleep unless I change my sheets. So you say, I should, or I have to, I had better, okay, for here, okay. So you say, I won't be able to sleep unless I change my sheets. Okay, so here, what you're going to do, you're going to say, I need to change my sheets, semicolon, otherwise I won't be able to sleep. Or, I should change my sheets, period, capital O, otherwise, comma, I won't be able to sleep. No unless, okay? Go ahead and do number 5, 6, 7, and 8, and I'll give you a couple of minutes for that. Okay. Number 5. Only if you help me get ready for the party will I have one. Okay. So you would start with eliminate only if and say you need to. Okay. You need to help me get ready for the party, period. Otherwise, comma, I won't have one. Again, eliminate only if and start with capital Y. You need to help me get ready for the party, period. Otherwise, comma, I won't have one. Number 6. We have to clear, okay, unless we clear the snow from the walkway, people could slip and fall. So you say, eliminate unless, say we, capital W, have to clear the snow from the walkway, period. Capital O. Otherwise, comma, people could slip and fall. So again, eliminate unless, it's a capital W. We have to clear the snow from the walkway, period. Capital O. Otherwise, comma, people could slip and fall. Number 7. I'll get everything done only if I begin as soon as I get home. Okay? So here you say, okay. So you're going to say, I need to, you're going to say, I need to, no will. I need to get everything done, okay, as soon as I get home. Okay? I need to get everything done as soon as I get home. Otherwise, comma, I won't get everything done. I need to get, no will. I need to get everything done as soon as I get home. And then, no, only if. Otherwise, comma, I won't get everything done. And number 8. If you don't start soon, the weekend will be over. So here you would say no if. Okay? You should start soon. Semicolon. Otherwise, comma, the weekend will be over. Or you had better start soon. Or you have to start soon. Semicolon. Otherwise, comma, the weekend will be over. All right. Let's look at exercise 36. Using the two ideas of to study and to pass or fail the exam. Complete the sentences. Punctuate and capitalize as necessary. So again, look at, these are going to be especially a review of charts 19.7, showing contrast unexpected result, 19.8, 19.9. Also, you could also use 19.2. It's basically a, or even 19.1, basically a review of all the charts. because it's a chapter 19 review. So look at number 1. Because I did not study, comma, I failed the exam. That's expected. Remember, because is followed by a subject and a auxiliary or main verb. Number 2, I failed the exam because I did not study. Okay. Number 3, this is using although. Although I studied, comma, I failed the exam. That's unexpected. Number 4, I did not study, period, capital T. Therefore, comma, I failed the exam. Again, I did not study, period, capital T. Therefore, comma, I failed the exam. Number 5, I did not study, however. So here, I did not study, period, capital H. However, comma, I passed the exam. That's unexpected. I did not study, period, capital H. However, comma, I passed the exam. Go ahead and do number 6 through 19. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Number 6, I studied, period, capital N. Nevertheless, comma, I failed the exam. Again, I studied, period, capital N. Nevertheless, comma, I failed the exam. Number 7, even though I did not study, comma, I passed the exam. Number 8, I did not study, comma, so I failed the exam. Again, I did not study, comma, so I failed the exam. Number 9, since I did not study, comma, that's an adverb clause, I failed the exam. Since I did not study, comma, I failed the exam. Number 10, if I study for the exam, comma, I will pass it. Again, if I study for the exam, comma, I will pass it. It meaning the exam. Number 11, unless I study for the exam, comma, I will not pass it. Or unless I study for the exam, comma, I will fail it. Either one. Unless I study for the exam, I will not, comma, I will not pass it. Or unless I study for the exam, comma, I will fail it. Number 12, I must study, period, capital O. Otherwise, comma, I will not pass the exam. I must study, period, capital O. Otherwise, comma, I will not pass the exam. Or otherwise, comma, I will fail the exam. Number 13, even if I study, comma, I won't pass the exam. Even if I study, comma, I won't pass the exam. Or even if I study, comma, I will fail the exam. Same thing. 14, I did not study, period, capital C. Consequently, comma, I failed the exam. Again, I did not study, period, capital C. Consequently, comma, I failed the exam. Number 15, I did not study, period, capital N. Nonetheless, comma, I passed the exam. Remember, nonetheless gives us the unexpected result. I did not study, period, capital N. Nonetheless, comma, I passed the exam. Number 16, I will probably fail the exam whether I study or not. Or I will probably fail the exam whether or not I study. 17, only if I study, comma, will I pass the exam. Only if I study, comma, will I pass the exam. 18, I studied hard, comma, yet I didn't pass the exam. I studied hard, comma, yet I didn't pass the exam. And number 19, you'd better study, comma, or else you will fail the exam. You'd better study, comma, or else you will fail the exam. Or else you won't pass the exam. So, okay, we're going to skip exercises 37 and 38. Let's go to exercise 39. Now here, if you look at the picture, you see two people here yawning. And this is what happens when you're sleepy. Okay, you yawn. And then once you yawn, what happens to the person next to you or in front of you? If they see you yawn, they're going to start yawning. Okay? So here, it says here, complete the lecture with the words in the box. Then listen and check your answers. one word is used 2 times. Okay? And one word is not used. Okay? So one of these words is going to be used 2 times, and one of these words is not going to be used. So why we yawn? Have you ever noticed that when a person near you yawns, you may start yawning too? This is called contagious yawning. Contagious in this sense means that the behavior spreads. In the case of yawning, when one person yawns, it can cause others to do the same thing. So, remember, we're going to use however, if, therefore, so that, while, and since. One of those words we're going to use 2 times. One of those words we're not going to use. So go ahead and complete numbers 1 through 6, and we're going to check in a minute. All right. There are various theories about why people yawn. One popular idea is that yawning brings more oxygen into the brain so that people will wake up. So that, for number 1. Is that what you have thought? However, see the comma here? In 2007, researchers at a university in New York came up with a new idea. Yawning helps cool the brain. When people's brains are warm, comma, they yawn more frequently. Yawning brings cooler air into the body and, comma, therefore, cools the brain. Therefore. This is important because cooler brains work better than warmer ones. Number 4. This may also help explain why yawning is contagious. People are more awake when their brains are cooler, semicolon. Therefore, comma, contagious yawning helps people be more alert. As people evolved, this was important in times of danger. If they yawned, they could have been signaling to others to stay awake. While it can be annoying to have a person yawn when you are talking, perhaps you can tell yourself that he or she actually wants to stay awake, not go to sleep. So let's check our answers again. So number 1, so that. Number 2, however. Number 3 and number 4, therefore. Number 5, if. And number 6, while. The word that was not used in the box was since. All right. Look at exercise 40. The hotel had a mistake on its website. The price was very low so that many people wanted rooms. So we're going to correct these errors, ladies and gentlemen. So number 1, the hotel had a mistake on its website. That's correct. But the second sentence has a punctuation mistake and a grammatical word that does not belong there. The price was very low, comma, so, know that, okay? So many people wanted rooms. Okay, again, the price was very low, comma, so many people wanted rooms. Number two. Number two is a little bit more complicated. We have to move some words around or add words. Here this sentence says, due to medical care costs a lot in the US, people need to have insurance. You have a couple of options. Due to medical care costing, ing, gerund form. Due to medical care costing a lot in the US, comma, people need to have insurance. Or you can say, due to the high cost of medical care in the US. So you would eliminate this part. Okay? Care costs a lot. So you can say, due to the high cost of medical care in the US, comma, people need to have insurance. Both are correct. Due to medical care costing a lot in the US, people need to have insurance. Or due to the high cost of medical care in the US, people need to have insurance. Number three. The dorm room I was assigned to has a broken heater. Therefore, I have complained to the office. So here you're going to say, the dorm room I was assigned to has a broken heater, semicolon. Therefore, comma, I have complained to the office. You can also use a period and capitalize the T in therefore. Okay. Number 4, we're going to make some changes here. Because is in the wrong clause. So you say, Jamal's visa has expired, and then you're going to put, no comma, you're going to put because he waited too long to renew it. Jamal's visa has expired, no comma, you're going to put a because here, because he waited too long to renew it. Or you can say, because Jamal waited too long to renew his visa, comma, it has expired. Okay? Look at number 5. Jan had surprisingly low test scores. However, the college she chose didn't admit her. So here, if you stay with however, you can say, Jen had surprisingly low test scores, period. However, comma, the college she chose did admit her. Make it affirmative. Just cross out the negative, and the contraction for not. However, comma, the college she chose did admit her. If you keep didn't, you can say, Jen had surprisingly low test scores, period, capital T. Therefore, comma, the college she chose didn't admit her. Okay? Remember, however gives you that unexpected result. Therefore gives you the expected result. Number 6. Despite the weather is freezing today, I'm going to take a run in the park. Despite, okay? So you say, okay. Here you can say, despite the freezing weather. So you're going to say, despite the freezing weather, comma, I'm going to take a run in the park. Or despite the freezing weather today, comma, I'm going to take a run in the park. No is. And freezing is going to go after the. Number 7. It was such a hard test that no one finished on time. Okay? It was such a hard test that no one finished on time. Number 8. We should leave now. No, comma, it should be a semicolon. Otherwise, comma, we will get stuck in traffic. We should leave now, semicolon. Otherwise, comma, we will get stuck in traffic. You can also say we should leave now, period, capital O. Otherwise, comma, we will get stuck in traffic. Number 9. The electric bill was months overdue. And then it says, nevertheless, the power company turned off the power to the home. So here, no. This gives you the unexpected result. If you keep nevertheless, you would say, the electric bill was months overdue. Nevertheless, the electric company did not turn off the power to the home. Nevertheless, the electric company did not turn off the power to the home. You can say also, the electric bill was months overdue, semicolon. Therefore, comma, the power company turned off the power to the home. Therefore, instead of nevertheless. Okay. Number 10. Please talk. Look at the verb form here, simple present. Please talk more quietly so that we can hear the speaker. Please talk more quietly, comma, so that we can hear the speaker. Not could, because this is in the present. This has to be in the present. Number 11. You should apply for a scholarship soon unless you don't want to miss the deadline. Look at that sentence. So here, you should apply for a scholarship soon unless you want to miss the deadline. Take off don't. You should apply for a scholarship soon unless you want to miss the deadline. Number 12. For this one, you can say capital Y. You should change your password, no comma, since many people know it. Since goes over here. This is your adverb clause right here. Okay? You should change your password, no comma, since many people know it. Or you can say since many people know your password, comma, you should change it. Same thing. And my parents bought a house in their neighborhood so that they are going to be closer to their grandchildren. Look at this verb here, simple past. So you're going to change this to the simple past. Okay? My parents bought a house in our neighborhood so that they could be closer to their grandchildren. My parents bought a house in our neighborhood so that they could be closer to their grandchildren. No, are going to. Okay? Are going to. All right. This concludes today's lesson and chapter 19. Now tomorrow again, please make sure that you log on, check your email by at least 7:50 so that you can join our Zoom meeting for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday classes. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. The final exam is on Friday. please make sure that when you start the final exam, you have 2 hours to take it. Once you start it, do not press submit until you finish, okay? So submit is at the end when you finish, all right? Thank you. Have a good day. Stay safe. Stay healthy.